would automatically switch over to tower. There are some people that say that you should stay on with ground and then say McClellan ground, Cessna 61329er run up complete. And then they'll say Cessna 61329er switch over to tower. It's kind of like a middle process. It doesn't really need to happen. You can switch over to tower and just say McClellan tower, Cessna 61329er run up complete, holding short of 1-6 on alpha, ready for departure. So that could happen at McClellan. If you go to, no, I should use second executive. Busy airports like Monterey, for example. If you go to Monterey and you're in the run-up area, don't leave the run-up area until you talk to tower. You can say McClellan tower, Cessna 659er, in the run-up area, runway, whatever their runway is, run up complete. And then they can tell you, hold short of runway such and such at alpha. Then you can taxi out and go hold short of wherever they told you to go. I'm switching between McClellan and other airports because McClellan is where you're training and the process is a little bit different and a little bit more laid back. But at a real tower airport, it's a little bit more stringent. So again, at a busy airport, you don't leave the run-up area until you talk to somebody. It could be ground, it could be tower. If you're on the wrong frequency, don't worry about it. They'll just tell you to switch over. If you make the call to ground on accident, they'll be like, switch over to tower. But anything for like takeoff and landing clearances, that's tower. Anything with activity on the ground, that's ground. So you can be in the run-up, Monterey ground, Cessna 61329er, run-up complete, ready for departure. And then they'll get back to you and say, hold short of runway 16 at alpha. Hold short 16 at alpha. But now we're at McClellan. Okay, so you've done your run-up. You can go ahead and taxi up to the hold short line. I usually will do like 2 airplane lengths behind the hold short line. That way nobody thinks I'm just gonna taxi on. Like if you get really close to it, they might kind of freak out. So don't get too close to the hold short line, but go hold short. And you can say McClellan Tower, Cessna 61329er, holding short of 16 at Alpha, or holding short 16 at Bravo, holding short 16 at Charlie, ready for departure. And you don't say ready for takeoff, because that caused an accident a couple years ago. Because somebody said ready for takeoff, and somebody was waiting for takeoff. They thought that that was tower clearing them for takeoff, and he was not. They started a roll, they got cleared for takeoff, and they taxied onto the runway, and they collided, and everyone died. So, in order to prevent that from happening, there's a difference in language between pilot and ATC. Only towers is takeoff. We say departure. So you say you're ready for departure. And if you're holding short of Alpha, if someone's landing or someone's still on the runway, they'll say, Cessna 61329er, continue holding short of 16 at Alpha. Hold short 16 at Alpha, 61329er. If tower shortens or ATC shortens your tail number to the last 3, then you can do that. If they don't, then just say your full thing. There could be another airplane in the area that has a very similar tail number to you, so in order to differentiate, they keep saying the full thing. But most likely they'll shorten it, so you can shorten it. So you're holding short, person lands, they get off, and then they might ask you, Cessna 61329er, what's the direction of your departure? And you know, if you're going to Folsom Lake, you could be like, oh, we're eastbound towards Folsom Lake, we're westbound, we're southwestbound, wherever you're going. That way they know what kind of departure to give you. If you're going to Folsom Lake, which is over there, they'll probably give you a left turn out. And what that'll sound like is they'll say Cessna 61329er, 16 cleared for takeoff, left turn out approved. And you'll say 16 cleared for takeoff, left turn out approved, 61329er. Another thing they might add in is he might give you a wind update. He might say Cessna 61329er, wind is now 190 at 8, 16 clear for takeoff, left turn out approved. You don't have to repeat the wind. All you have to repeat is the direction and the clearance. 16 clear for takeoff, left turn out approved, 329er. So part of the challenge with ATC is filtering out what you have to read back and what you don't have to read back. Anything with like a number usually warrants a read back, whether it's an altitude, a direction, runway. Those are big things to read back. Anything that's followed by or anything that's preceded by cleared, you have to read that thing back. It's cleared for takeoff, cleared to land, cleared for a Charlie transition if you just want to go through the Charlie and not land anywhere. You have to say that phrase back. So we said 1-6 clear for takeoff, left turn out approved. You can now pass the hold short line onto the runway and take off. And if you're at a towered airport, unless they tell you, like, I'll call your crosswind, sometimes they do that. If they want to help you avoid traffic, they might say, clear for takeoff, I'll call your crosswind. 1-6 clear for takeoff, you'll call my crosswind, 329er. Most of the time, though, they don't. And what they're expecting is that once you're 400 feet above ground, over the departure end, that's when you start your turn. Not before, not too long after. Usually what they're expecting is the 400 feet AGL, you start your turn. So the elevation at McClellan is 77 feet, roughly 100 feet. So at 500 feet on your altimeter, you start your turn. Unless he tells you otherwise. He might have you turn a little early. He might call your turn for you, so you don't turn until he tells you to. But otherwise, that's the expectation at a towered airport. 400 feet AGL, you start your turn. So you'll be over here, you'll be turning, you'll be climbing. Once you kind of get to the edge of his airspace, he'll say, Cessna 61329er, frequency change approved, have a nice flight. All you have to say is frequency change approved, 329er. Frequency change approved means you don't have to talk to him anymore. If you want to get on a flight phone with NorCal approach, you can do that. You can switch over to their frequency instead. He's basically just saying bye. Yeah. Does anybody want to walk through it? And I'll be tower. There's no judgments. I'm also not an air traffic controller, so I'm probably not going to be 100% correct. Let's just try it. You're already there. Let's try it. Okay, I'm tower, so I'm in my little trailer. He's in a little trailer at McClellan. You are ready to taxi. What are you going to say?
McClellan Tower, Cessna 61329er, McClellan Jet Services, wanting to taxi.
Ready to taxi. Okay, you're ready to taxi. Cessna 61329er, McClellan Tower. Just to confirm, do you have the weather?
Yes.
Okay, or affirmative. Affirmative, 329er. Cessna 61329er, taxi 16 via Alpha.
Taxiway 16 via Alpha 329er.
Perfect. Now you may move. It's like we're playing a board game. 329er, do you want an intersection or full length?
Full length.
Perfect. You do your run up, you're ready to go. Now what?
Do you have to say
Technically, yeah. Just good etiquette. If you don't, again, no one's gonna like slap you on the wrist, but you should.
McClellan Tower, Cessna 61329er, holding short 16 via Alpha 329er.
Perfect. You already said your tail number once, so you don't have to say it again. But you could say like McClellan Tower. Yeah, I know you said it right. You just don't have to end with it because you already said your tail number. Cessna 61329er, winds are calm, 16, clear for takeoff. What number? What runway? Perfect. Yeah, always include the runway. For you and for him. Because if you're over there and you say clear for takeoff, he's like assuming you're here, but then you're over there and he's like, holy shit, I didn't realize you were on 3-4. Okay, cool. So you take off and you're in the air and gosh darn it, he didn't ask you where you're going. Sometimes this happens, that's okay. You can be in the air and you can be like, McClellan Tower 329er, we're eastbound. Can we get a left turn out? Very casual. And he can be like, Cessna 61329er, left turn out approved. Left turn out approved, 329er. Then you can go ahead and turn once you're 400 feet AGL. It happens. We all forget sometimes, so like he forgets to ask for the information, we forget to offer it. And then you're like, wait a minute, am I allowed to turn? How do I know? Ask. If you're not sure, ask. Don't ever assume, oh, I'm sure it's fine, because then suddenly you're turning into a helicopter or something.
Can you just ask it on your call?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
But sometimes we forget.
Okay.
That's kind of where that situation was going, is like maybe I could have asked him here, I totally forgot, and now I'm in the air, and I'm like, shoot, I want to go that way. But he doesn't know that, so then it's kind just like, McClellan Tower, 329er, I'm heading eastbound. Can I get a left crosswind departure? Can I get a left turnout? Something like that.
So in that situation, did we just go automatically to the whole short?
Yes. Yeah. So this situation, because again, it's like more of a laid-back environment, you don't have to be like run up complete or something. Yeah, you don't have to say McClellan Tower, Seth 329er, run up complete. You totally could. You could totally be formal and build the habit. That's totally fine. I'm just telling you, like, this is the culture at McClellan Tower. He's very laid back. But like in any actual tower environment, I would just stay put until I let them know my run-up's complete. You know, like, what do you want me to do? And then they'll just tell you, okay, go ahead and hold short of whatever runway you're at.
Can you do a sample call for non-tower?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now we're at McClellan. It's not towered anymore. Now we don't have to request anything. We just have to tell people. So everything with tower is a request. Now I don't have to do that. So it would be, it's kind of the same rule though. Who you're talking to, who you are, what you want. McClellan traffic, Cessna 61329er at the Jet Center, taxiing 16 via Alpha, McClellan. You begin and end with the airport because there's multiple airports on this frequency, and sometimes people might not have heard you say McClellan in the beginning, and then if you don't end with McClellan, they're like, wait, was that for here or was that for somewhere else? So begin and end with it. And you don't have to do, you'll hear this, some people say McClellan traffic and they end with McClellan traffic. You just have to say McClellan traffic in the beginning and just end with McClellan at the end. Same thing like at Auburn traffic, such and such, Auburn. Nut Tree traffic, Nut Tree. So I said I was going to taxi to 16 via Alpha. Cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and go. Make sure no one's in my way. I'm going to Alpha. And now I'm here. I do my run up. I'm doing my run up. I look both ways, make sure no one's taxiing in front of me. Because, you know, like, some people just don't talk because it's not legally required. Stupid, but it's not required. You go up to the old short line and you just say McClellan traffic, Cessna 61329er, holding short 16 at Alpha, McClellan. And when you make the hold short call, if there's someone in the pattern, that's kind of you telling them and you indirectly saying, if anyone's here, please let me know. So they'll probably, somebody like on downwind, they'll probably make another call. Just so you know, and they know that you know, like, hey, so you see me, like, I'm on downwind. Otherwise, you're holding short. Base to final on this side is clear. Base to final on that side is clear. No one's on the runway. Okay, you're clear to go. Before you cross the hold short line, you make your departure call. McClellan traffic, Cessna 61329, departing 16, staying in the pattern, McClellan, eastbound departure, McClellan, left crosswind departure, McClellan. Different ways of saying the same thing. So if you're going to Folsom Lake, that's technically a left crosswind. You can call it a left crosswind departure. You can call it an eastbound departure. You're not wrong either way. So you've made your call, you've cleared the area, you're ready to take off. You're in the air, you're climbing. So technically, this is your departure leg. If you want to say upwind, technically upwind is on this side, going this way, into the wind. You'll hear people say upwind right here though. It's not technically correct, but it's also something that people have been doing for years, and the FAA just released a document like last year saying that that's wrong. Old habits die hard. If I have students say upwind and departure leg, I'm not gonna get on you. You know, the FAA just now said, no, that's wrong. People have been doing it for too long. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're technically wrong, but like culturally you're not that wrong. It's whatever. I want to teach you what the FAA says. So you would say, McClellan traffic, Cessna 61329er, on the departure leg, 16, McClellan. Everyone knows to look like somewhere on this end of the runway for you if they're looking for you. You reach a safe altitude, which I would say is 500 feet above the ground before turning. In a towered environment, it's 400, but non-towered, I'd say 500. You turn, and you can say, in the column traffic, Cessna 61329 left.